Yeah, welcome back to On the Field with FEIRMAN. Here we are for another edition. Welcome in. Thanks for joining me. As you can tell by my tone and my intensity, I'm feeling better. I'm over my sickness for the most part. Yet I was still up very early this morning because I am an early riser. And there's nothing on TV early in the morning. It really stinks. So if you don't have a DVR or any good movies to watch, you're stuck with infomercials, which is what I had going on. Infomercial.com City, USA. It was driving me nuts. And they have this one for like this shirt that you wear. It makes you look like you lose 30 pounds. So you put it on and it kind of like sucks in the fat. But in addition to losing the 30 pounds, they say you'll also look 5 to 10 years younger. And I'm thinking like, alright, well what if you're an overweight 10-year-old? What do you look like, you're 5? They got to be careful with these things, these advertisements. It's really stupid. I know it's 4 o'clock in the morning, folks, when I'm watching this, but I'm paying attention. I'm listening to what you got to say. Here's a guy who can afford a lot of those shirts, and who needs a couple, I got to be honest with you. No offense, Prince Fielder, but with your $214 million, you're a little overweight, now you got some cash, go grab yourself a few of those shirts. But hey, congratulations to you. No, all joking aside, guy's an awesome ball player, not a great fielder, but he can hit a ton. So congrats to you on your contract. Tigers made a good move over there. But speaking of the contract, $214 million for 9 years, do you know how much money that is? Is that why our economy sucks? Is that why there's like thousands and thousands of people without jobs? Because these guys get paid all these millions of dollars, not just baseball players, NBA, NFL, and so on and so forth. I mean, that's a crazy amount of money if you stop and think about it. Where and when did this happen? How did we get to these crazy numbers? Was it A-Rod back in like 2002 when he signed that deal with the Dodgers? He signs like a $200 million deal with them, then with the Yankees. This is crazy cash, guys. I'm not going to get into all the economics. I don't want to bore you to death, but I mean, that's something else, how much money these dudes make. Just insane. So you got guys like Lincecum, who made some cash this year, Reyes, Fielder, Albert Pujols, lots of money, right? What's going to happen? Are they going to play poorly this next year? Are they going to be like Carl Crawford? Are they going to be like Adrian Beltre a while ago? I actually did some homework. Check this out. Adrian Beltre, when he was his last year with the Dodgers, he had 48 home runs and batted .334, right? Awesome. That was contract year. Then he signs a huge deal with Seattle, and he bats .255 with 19 home runs. And then the year after that, he was still around like .260 with 20 home runs and everything. So what's that all about? Obviously you're a great player, all you guys. But why do you chill the next year? Because you got your cash. You got your cash now. You're good to go. So you relax and you hang out a little bit. I don't understand. I mean, I guess I do understand. That's probably it, because then you come around a couple, 3 years later and you're back to where you were, like Adrian Beltre with the Red Sox the last few years, and now with the Rangers. He's hitting the crap out of the ball, So it's interesting. Let's see what Pujols and Fielder and, Lincecum, Reyes, all these guys. Reyes, Met fan. Bye. Mets going to be terrible this year, but I'm not going to get into all that right now. I just hope at least these dudes tip their pizza guy well. When they come over and they bring him pie, you got to give him at least a 20 spot, right? I mean, you can't get away with giving like $5 if you're Tim Lincecum. Like, you can give like a $5 tip if you get a pie delivered to your house. At least be cool about it, fellas. You make a lot of money. A guy who didn't make as much money as those dudes, but probably deserved it because of his 5 championships and everything he meant to his organization, is Jorge Posada. Not a Yankee fan, obviously. Again, I'm a Met fan, but all respect due to him and to the Yankee organization, how they sent him out. Very classy. I know things got a little shaky there toward the end, and it's probably a good idea he retired when he did. Him in another uniform is almost like Derek Jeter in another uniform. Doesn't really make sense, but Posada was behind the plate for 5 championships. Gave everything he had to the Yankees. Was a way above average hitter for a catcher. No question about it. Certainly had his problems behind the plate, especially later on in his career. But hey, the guy got the job done. I mean, he was pretty much their everyday catcher for a long time. So congratulations to you on everything. You a Hall of Famer? I don't know. Probably not. It's not like you were a 300 hitter. It's not like you were an outstanding defensive catcher. Yes, you were an above average hitting catcher, but I don't know if that's going to work for me. I don't have a vote, so it really doesn't matter what I say, but let's see what the Hall of Fame voters think in 5 years. Baseball's coming up in a couple of months, so we have plenty of time to talk about it. We're in the middle of the NBA season. Well, not the middle. Well, actually, it is kind of the middle, given the fact that it's only 66 games and teams are playing like a game every single night. And my Knicks are just miserable. It's really, really sick what's happening with these guys. You've got Amar'e Stoudemire and Carmelo Anthony. What's their record? 7-11? Yeah, 7-11. What? You haven't even played anybody good yet. You're playing the Heat tonight. Are they a team that plays up to the level of that competition? You know, like the Giants? You play great teams, you play great, you play poor teams, you play poor. You know, they did a good job against the 76ers last week. You know, they went back and forth a little bit, but the Bobcats are beating them. And teams like the Cavaliers again. I don't know, you know, what is going on? Does D'Antoni got to go? Why can't Amari and Melo coexist? They're friends. You know, there's no issue as far as I can tell or as far as anybody knows. So they don't blend on offense. I watch the games. You know, one of them is in isolation, and Amari defers to Melo all the time in the fourth, which he probably should. You know, Melo's a great player and the best player we have. I think a top 5 guy in the league, especially offensively. And it's not even like it's the defense this year. Yeah, transition defense, the Knicks are miserable. I've seen, you know, half-court passes down and, you know, guys getting easy layups and dunks all the time. But their offense is pitiful. You know, Tyson Chandler's there to play D and get rebounds. I don't really have a problem with him. He's not there to score points, but Amari is like a ghost now. And it's killing me because he's the guy who, like, put the Knicks back on the map. He brought him back. And not that I don't want Melo here, but when Melo wasn't here, Amari was playing at an all-star MVP type level. And he actually had the Knicks basically where they ended up last year with Melo. You know, like just a few games above 500. I think they'll get it together. I think they need the right coach. Phil Jackson, if you're listening to me by any chance in the world, maybe you want to go to that team because, no offense, D'Antoni, it just doesn't seem like you're the right fit for these guys. It doesn't look right. So it's scary. LA's got a pretty good rivalry going. You know, the Clippers are definitely on the map with Paul. Him and Blake are meshing well. I wasn't so sure about that because I wasn't sure Blake is such a great scorer from the outside. The guy can dunk. I mean, he can jump over tall buildings. I mean, he's like Superman. But wasn't so sure about him shooting from the outside. He's getting a little bit better now. They're playing good offensively. You know, it's Lob City over there, like they say. So they're pretty good. The Spurs, surprisingly, is still in it. You know, Oklahoma City was my pick to go to the finals against the Heat. They're 15-3, so they're right up there. Denver, who's like Knicks West, you know, because we traded all our guys over there. They're 11-8, just laughing in the Rocky Mountains at us, having a couple of Coors Lights or whatever it may be. So good for them. Here's a guy I really want to talk about. It's Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is really the only great big man in a league of small forwards and, you know, power forwards and whatnot. Dwight Howard's an excellent, dominant player on both sides of the ball. He can't shoot a free throw worth a lick, but neither could Shaq. And Shaq got himself 4 rings. But he got himself 4 rings because he had another superstar with him. Either Kobe Bryant or Dwayne Wade. Now, you give Dwight Howard, it doesn't even have to be as good as a Bryant or Wade, but if you give him somebody comparable, somebody close to that, he's going to win a championship every single stinking year. I'm telling you right now, listen to me. If he's lucky enough sometime this year or next year to go to a team who's got another star player, because he's not playing with any right now, they'll win every championship. And I'm sorry, LeBron and Wade, you're not 1, you're not 2, you're 3, you're 12 championships. Not with Dwight Howard around playing with another superstar. He's a dominant player in a land of just, again, smaller players. He's the only legitimate big guy. So, wherever he goes, I'm telling you right now, he's going to have at least 4 rings by the time he's done. Because he's got nobody to guard him, and nobody can play against him because he's the best defender in the league. So there's my little NBA talk for the day. Real quick on Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck's situation again. Before we even get into where they're going to go and whatnot, Luck is getting drafted. Luck is getting drafted by the Colts. Everything seems right now, Peyton's out. That's what we all thought. That's what we all seemed, and it seems apparent, especially ever more by Jim Irsay's comments. I apologize for that noise. I don't know what the heck is going on over there, but somebody apparently is wheeling up a house or something. Anyway, look. Peyton Manning is probably not going to be a Colt. His style of offense, he basically invented, as it seems. You know, he's got his no huddle. He goes to the line. He's got 3 plays. You know, that's not too abnormal, but he's got his own signals and checks, and he's really got his own style of offense that he brought to the NFL and to the Colts. I don't know if that's going to carry over somewhere right away. And I don't know if I'm not saying anything bad about Peyton, but he's got a big personality, as he should. It's made him the successful man that he is today. is that going to carry over with another coach like in Washington with Shanahan? I don't think he's going to the Jets, nor do I think he should, because I give Sanchez a chance. Sanchez, again, I've said it before, I think he's got it in him to be a pretty good quarterback. He needs a good quarterback coach. He needs the right guy. I don't know where... I'd take him again in Frisco in a heartbeat, because he's obviously an upgrade over Alex Smith. I'm just concerned about Peyton Manning's transition to another team, both mentally and on the field, and how he's going to mold. It's going to be interesting to see. That is, if he's healthy enough. And here's the guy to blame for everything, indirectly, is Andrew Luck. If you just came out last year, we're never having this conversation. I don't know if the Colts want RG3 that bad, or any other quarterback that's out there. They would maybe, obviously, if Peyton, if Peyton played, they wouldn't be in this position. But let's say he didn't play and Andrew Luck, came out and the Colts had this record. They have the #1 pick, but there's no Andrew Luck. What do they do then? Peyton Manning probably stays on because, maybe they don't, just taking RG3 out of the equation, say they didn't want him or whatever. Then what happens? So Peyton Manning stays on. Now they have the #1 pick. Then what do you do? So it's really interesting how Andrew Luck's decision to stay in school one more year has influenced total chaos in the Indianapolis Colts organization. GMs are fired, head coaches are fired. It's incredible because of one kid's decision. I'm not blaming him, of course, but it's just amazing how these things turn out, the dominoes fall. Just to end it off real quick, we're going to get into Super Bowl talk next time. I'm going to have a nice, cool little interview for you again. Special guest coming in next episode. But I just want to send my condolences out to the Paterno family. And without giving any sort of incredible poetic monologue or anything, the media killed this man. I feel terrible. I don't totally absolve Paterno, because if he did in fact know about these things, he should have certainly done something. There's no question. But he wasn't the one doing it. And to put him, and the way he was fired and how quickly it came down, and for him to tragically die months later, just a couple, 3 months later, from this whole situation, is just a tragic thing. And I feel so terrible. And it's really awful the way it ended. And my condolences out to the family. And it just goes to show you how the media can kill people. That's why I don't come on my podcast and destroy people. I just like to talk about the issues and just get my opinion out there. But I'm really never going to bash anybody. Not that anybody really gives a damn what I say, but to be honest with you, it's just not right. You don't know what goes on in people's lives. You don't get it. That's why I say just keep your thoughts to yourself. If you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all, sort of thing. But it's really true, I feel really terrible for that family, and I feel bad for him. I really wish him the best of luck with all of this. Look, again, just really tough. And I just hope that anybody who's listening that is involved in the media, that you kind of chill out a little bit before you jump and write your stories and think about other people's feelings, Sometimes that's what it's all about, how we feel about each other and the way that we communicate. Not about getting your story out there before the other guy so you can get your name in the paper and, make a few dollars. It's not what it's all about. So, people, again, the little public service announcement, just be good to each other, enjoy life, have fun, do what you want to do, and just don't be a jerk. You know what I'm saying? Look, thanks for listening. Love you all. Thank you for watching, again, On the Field with FEIRMAN. Check me out at sports4fans.blogspot.com. That's sports, the number 4fans.blogspot.com. And look, I'll keep up with the blogs and everything. Check me out next episode. We got the interviews, we got Super Bowl talk, all that great stuff. Enjoy your weekend. I'm out.